going on, peeps? It's Wrath here, hanging out today, playing some Monster Legends. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out with me today. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and show your support. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright, peeps. Today, we are going to do an analysis of all the monsters in the Eldritch's Abomination Maze. Now, you may be thinking, Wrath, it's a little late. This maze has been going on for a little while now. And that's true. It has been going on for a while, but if you do an analysis of monsters like right when they come out, almost every single time the stats are messed up on the wiki, the skills may be labeled incorrectly, all kinds of problems happen. So if you wait a little bit, generally those problems get fixed, and the information I can bring you is actually accurate information. And that's what I want to do. So we're going to go through, I'm going to pop up the screenshots of all the monsters, we're going to talk about each one. We won't go over like the old ones, like we're not going to talk about Sludger, obviously you wouldn't talk about Sludger, but Officius, or I always mess that name up, Snake Man, Invidia, Pigredo, these are old monsters, they've been available before, so we're just going to do an analysis of the new monsters, so Postiguraf, Faugnar, Yilitre, Krugbo, Jasastur, those guys. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first up, we're going to go ahead and jump into these pictures, and I'll be back at the end to say goodbye, peeps. But for now, we've got monsters to talk about. So, there's a ton of really good monsters in this maze. I think like every single monster in this maze is actually pretty solid. We're going to start out here with Postiguraf. It is epic, obviously, so he's not going to be something you use like really in-game, but he's got some pretty nasty skills for being an epic. So first up, we're going to go over his stats. 2,860 power at level 90, 21,280 life, and 2,930 speed. So pretty solid stats for an epic, pretty fast. Trait, Abomination. I think every monster in this maze's trait is Abomination, other than like the old ones. But it's a very solid trait, makes you immune to possession, nightmares, and bleeding, which is, almost every dark monster's attacking stuff. So pretty good stuff there. Special skill here, Kairo's Revenge. Very heavy dark damage to all enemies, gains 1 extra turn per hit. Now that is absolutely nasty. That means if you pop that and hit 3 enemies, he gets 3 extra turns, which for an epic, that's still pretty amazing. I don't think this makes him better than Officius, Snake Man, we're going to stick with Snake Man, that guy, or Nautilus 1. Those two monsters are still probably your best bet for epics and wars, in my opinion. Avast isn't bad, there's some other ones, but I don't think he's going to edge them out. But, if you're a newer player, this epic is absolutely baller. He's going to do some serious work for you. So now we're going to jump into his skills. First up, we got Postiguraf's Curse. This is going to be a single target skill that makes the enemy very weak to dark and magic attacks. So it's a great way to set up doing extra damage with a single target hit, or even with, not so much your AoEs, but not a bad skill at all, something you might want to look into. The next skill over here is going to be Dreams of Postiguraf. This is another single target skill, 50 base power with 1 cooldown, and it does nightmares to the target. Now, nightmares is probably one of the weakest dots in the game, damage over time, so it's not like the best, but, 50 power, it's not bad. It's not bad for an epic at all. Moving over, we have Rotten Claws. Now, this is an AoE poison. It only does 35 base power, but, again, AoE poison. What poison does is it not only does a 10% of their life as damage every turn, but it also lowers their power by 20%. So they're actually weaker, and they take some damage. So very good skill there. I would definitely recommend you take that. Moving on down, we've got the Bloodthirst. This is another AoE, but this one gives bleed, and it's also a 40 power skill, 40 strength skill. So pretty solid for an epic again here, and if you couple bleed and poison together, you're going to lower the enemy team's power by 40%, and they lose 20% health every turn. So really solid setup, definitely a good skill to take. Moving over one more, we have Extra Dimensional Poison. This is a single target skill with 65 power, so for an epic, that's pretty epic. LOL pun. But anyway, it's not bad at all, and it also poisons the target. So this is a great skill to use after you've used Postiguraf's Curse, because it's going to do even extra damage because the monster is now very weak to magic. So solid skill to take. And over here I've listed Crippling Fear as well. It's only 40 power, but you'll see it has a 0 cooldown. So it's kind of nice to have a 0 cooldown skill because you can kind of spam it, but totally up to you if you don't want to take that or not. Up to you. Now, runing Postiguraf. Depending on where you're at in the game, if you're really early on, you're not even going to have runes. If you're kind of still using epics as damage dealers and stuff like that, they're still like in your team like pretty prevalently, you can rune him as a damage dealer. So probably 2 strength and a speed, 2 strength and a team speed, something like that will be just fine. It'll help you out quite a bit. If you're higher level and you're obviously just taking this guy as an epic into wars, as like when you have a rule for epics, obviously the standard setup is 3 team speed, just so we can help boost your legendary speed. So that's how I would rune him if it were me. Totally up to you how you want to do that too, guys. And now moving on, we've got Yilitre. We're kind of going in order here. First you're going to get Postiguraf, then next you're going to get Yilitre. So that's what we're going to talk about now. His power, 3,355, so not amazing, but he's not really supposed to be a damage dealer. Life, 30,461, so that's also pretty good. Speed, 3,476. Now this is the fastest speed in the nature category, tied with Laomu and Sarah. This guy, in my opinion, is much better than Laomu. Laomu's heyday is over, in my opinion. It's been over for a while. Again, Abomination trait means immune to possession, which really ruins Laomu in Nature Wars, and also immunity to nightmares and bleeding. Moving down to the special skill, I Win. This deals massive nature damage to all enemies, may blind all targets, and healing effects hurt the targets for 3 turns. Now this is really good in Nature Wars because almost every nature monster has a heal. And so if you can make heals hurt the enemy team on AI, they don't really know that, and they're still going to heal their teammates, and they can very well just kill their team flat out. So very solid special for Nature Wars. Moving over on his skills now, we've got, first up, I Will Find You. This is a 50 power, 1 cooldown stun. Does have a cooldown, so it's not amazing, but it's also a stun, so you can't go wrong with it. Now, moving over again, we've got I Am So Shiny. This is an AoE special damage, and it also blinds all targets. This is kind of a soft deny. It's not a full-on deny, but blind people usually miss, so it's kind of a deny. Moving over again, we have You Feel Weaker. This deals moderate special damage, and healing effects hurt the target for 3 turns. Another good one for Nature Wars because, like I said, the AI has no idea that they're, killing their team when they heal them, so nice to have for that. Look at me now, I included, the description is not the same as what the thing says. It says single ally, but the description's like, it heals all your allies. I don't know 100% whether or not that's true. It may be, but it's decent if it does because it is a, clears all negative status effects, and it gives them immunity to possession and nightmares. So, not a bad one to have, depending on what it does. And now moving on over, we have I See Your Destiny. This is going to be an AoE that removes all positive status effects from all targets and gives a weakness to dark. Now, weakness to dark isn't really going to help him much due to the fact that he doesn't, do any dark damage. But if you have a dark attacker in your team, that's obviously going to help them a lot. As well as you're removing all the buffs off the enemy team, so that's definitely strong to have. Moving on one more time, we've got Mirror of the Soul. This is another AoE, and it applies 1 random status effect to all the enemy monsters. Those are okay. Sometimes you'll land stuns and freezes and stuff, or 0 damage, things like that. But, not super reliable. Obviously, this guy is a denial monster. That's what he's made to do. So you're going to ruin him with 3 straight speed. I think he's probably the best denier for Nature Wars. He doesn't have an AoE that's guaranteed to deny or anything, but he absolutely ruins Laomu. So if people are depending on Laomu for their denier, you win because you're going to be able to blind the enemy team anyway because he can't possess you. So, I think he's pretty good. Definitely want to run 3 speeds on him for surezies, but definitely a solid monster. Alright, now next up here we have Faugnar. This guy is absolutely nasty in my opinion, and I'm hoping I can get him out of the maze. This is going to be your absolute cap if you're a free-to-play player. There's no way to go beyond him, it's just too expensive. He will be the max monster you can get out of the maze. Now, with that being said, let's jump into his statisticals. 3,454 power, so pretty solid power stat. 28,651 life, so not bad life either. And 3,432 speed, so he's decently quick. He's not super fast, but he's not bad. Trait, Abomination, like all the other ones. No possessions, no nightmares, no bleeds. His special skill is Hate Clouds. This is going to remove 100% of stamina from all targets, so that's nasty in itself. He heals by 100% and recovers 100% of his stamina. So it's a full-on refresh for Faugnar, and it completely drains the enemy's stamina. Really powerful super there. I like that a lot. Moving over to his skills. He's got some nasty skills, peeps. First up, Vaporous Enemy. This is going to be an AoE Daze, but it also gives him evasion. That means that he can't be hit after he uses this. Unless somebody clears positive effects, I think that removes evasion. But still, AoE Daze, and then he can't be hit until his next turn. Up next is going to be Ethereal Claw. This is a 50 power, 3 cooldown attack with a daze, but it also gives him evasion again. So that's his second skill with evasion. Now you could follow up Vaporous Enemy with this, but it's kind of redundant because you already have dazed all the enemies. Unless you miss one with daze, then you could use that there on him. Whatevs. Moving over one more, we have Gaseous Fighter. This is a self buff. It gives him regeneration and stamina regeneration, and then he also gains evasion again. So for 3 turns, you can make this guy pretty much invincible. That's going to be super annoying if you have him on defense, and very nice if you have him on offense. Moving down, these are the 4, I would take all the top 3 if it were me. These bottom 4, these are your other skills. First up, you have Thick Fog. This is going to be a 40 power AoE that blinds all enemies. So he can almost be a denial monster in a way because of the daze in the blind. That's 70% accuracy reduction. Not bad. Moving on over, it's only got one cooldown too, which is insane. But anyways, moving on over, we've got the Anesthetic Stab. This is going to be a single enemy, 60 damage, 0 cooldown skill. This is more if you're going to run him as pure damage, want to get some of that damage out there. This is a good way to do it. It also applies damage reduction to the target, so not bad. Damage reduction is always nice. Moving over again, we have Hypnotic Robes. This is a 55 power, 0 cooldown skill. Which you'd be like, well, why would you take this over the 60 power? Well, it strips the enemy of all their positive effects, and it also blinds the target. So you got a blind and a stripping positive effects. It's up to you which one you want to take. They're both pretty solid. Moving over one more time, we've got the Sporific Ambient. This is another AoE, 45 power this time, and this one gives damage reduction to all enemies. So as you can see, this guy has some really nasty skills, and he has the capability to hit really hard. Now, you can rune this guy two different ways. You can kind of run him as a denial monster, but he's not going to be very good at it. I think it's his weaker trait. If you're going to run him that way, obviously 3 speed, using his AoE blind and AoE dazes. I think he's obviously much better here as a damage dealer. So in that case, I would rune him depending on, the level of your runes and stuff. If you're kind of a lower level 5 runes, maybe 2 strengths and 1 speed or 1 team speed. If you're a little higher up in the ranks, maybe run 1 strength and either 2 speed or 2 team speed to help your monsters be faster. Up to you which ones you want to do there. And moving on one more time. Well, not one more time. We got another one after this. But this is Krugbo. Now, Krugbo's pretty nasty as well. He's capable of countering Thades, which is a huge thing for a lot of people. But anyways, first up we're going to jump into his statisticals. Power, 3,575. Pretty massive power trait. Life, 29,556, so pretty solid life. Speed, 3,421. So he's pretty fast as well as being pretty strong. Trait, Abomination. Won't go over that again. You know what that is by now. Special skill, this is going to be Teeth Storm. This is an AoE, 75 power, but it's dark damage, so it's not the best, but it's nothing, it's nothing terrible either. This is going to bleed and nightmares all the enemies as well, so not a bad skill, but not like the best amazing skill in the world. Moving over to his actual skills, we've got Eldritch Stamina. Now, this right here allows him to counter Thades, and it's pretty amazing. It's a 0 stamina cost skill that gives him 100% of his stamina back and an extra turn. So this guy, flat out, can counter Thades, no problem. It's pretty amazing. Moving on over, Eldritch Fascination. I left this in there. It's not like an amazing damage or anything, but it is a possess with a 100% chance of possessing, and it's only 2 cooldowns. So it's not bad to have. It's not a bad one to use. I left it in there just for that reason. Moving over one more time, we've got the Great Sanity Check. This is a 45 power AoE, so a really good one to run with a damage dealer because it's going to deal a lot of damage. And it also does nightmares to all targets. Nightmares are kind of meh, but 45 power AoE, not bad. Moving down, we've got the Outer Impact. This is a 70 power special damage skill. With strength runes on and stuff like that, this can essentially allow you to one-shot people. He's very solid. 3 cooldown, though, is a bit hefty for it. That's just my opinion. Moving over, we've got the Unstoppable Ritual. This is a 60 power single enemy attack. It's going to deal very heavy dark damage and gives him immunity to freeze on himself. So another great thing for a damage dealer to have is a skill that does damage, but also makes him immune to forms of possession. So like against against a Krampus or like General Thades again with her Abyss attack, it's going to help you not be crowd controlled by the enemy team. That's definitely good for any damage dealer in the game. Can't go wrong with that skill. Moving over one more time, we have Eldritch Possession. Now, this is a very, very heavy cost skill. 70 stamina, but is a 2-turn possession. So it can be powerful, something you can use right out of Eldritch Stamina. Use this on like the big damage on the enemy team, and give them 2 turns of attacking their own monsters. Can really save you a lot of headache. So, great skill to take. Obviously, you can run this guy 2 different ways. You can run this guy as kind of a straight-up damage dealer, which is obviously where he shines with his really heavy power stat. And if you do that, lower levels, again, 1 speed, 1 team speed, 2 strength will do you really well. If you're in the higher end of things, obviously 2 speed or 2 team speed and 1 strength will do you well as well. But you can also run this guy as pretty much a straight Thades counter by running him with 3 speed runes. What this means is even if Thades does get to go first, they have the same base speed, so it's 50-50 chance. Even if she goes first and does stamina drain your entire team, this guy's going to go literally right after her. So he can pop the Eldritch Stamina and Eldritch Possession on the damage dealer, or something else you want to run. but seriously, that's going to give you a big leg up over having to recharge with all of your monsters that turn. So it can really turn the tide of battle against a Thetes. It's a really good way to run him, in my opinion. But it's up to you. He'll do great as a damage dealer, and he also does great as a straight-up Thetes counter. So, great monster here. Definitely recommend picking him up when he comes on offer after the maze if you're a free-to-play player. Now, up last, but certainly not least, is Jasastur. I think it said it's supposed to be like for disaster. Jasastur, he's amazing. Anyways, running over his stats really fast. 3,245 base power, which is low, but he doesn't really need it. Life, 31,366. This is really tanky for a deny monster, which, spoiler alert, he is. His speed, 3,531. If you know anything, you know this actually ties Krampus. So he is tied for the fastest dark monster that there is. His trait, Abomination, again, immune to possession, all that good business. I'm not going to stick a lot of time on that. Moving down to his special skill, the Star Stalker, is an AoE, 65 power, does heavy dark damage, and it may make all targets bleed and stun all the targets as well. So there's a denial move in his super as well, which is great. But moving over to his skills, this guy's got some nasty skills as well. So first up here, we've got the Faceless Being. Now this is a special damage AoE, 35 power, that not only possesses all targets, but also gives them nightmares. So not bad, not bad. A little, extra on the end of that one. That's obviously his bread and butter opening denial move. Not good. Not bad, I mean. LOL, it is good. Moving over, we've got the Crawling Chaos. Now, this says single enemy, but everything in the description says it's multiple enemies. It also says 0 stamina cost, which I don't know. But even if it is a even if it is a single target attack, it's still pretty solid. What it does is it removes 50% of the stamina from all targets and or one target, depending on what it does. Don't know. It also applies stamina leak to that target, which is nasty and or all targets, and it gives 50% of your stamina back to all your allies and or just himself. I don't know. But either way you look at that, even a single target and or special target or all targets, that's a good skill. That's a very nasty skill. It's pretty amazing in my opinion. Now moving over, we've got 1,000 Forms. This is going to be a heavy dark damage, and it also possesses targets for 2 turns. So again, nasty, really heavy. It doesn't take near enough stamina as Eldritch's possession does, and it's still 2-turn possession, so solid skill there. Moving on down, we've got Knight of the Tentacle. This is more of a support-based skill in my opinion. It does a single target, 45 power to the enemy, but it also makes your team immune to dark attacks, nightmares, and possession. Now, in a Dark War, that's obviously very nice if you're immune to, dark damage. That means someone's running a dark damage dealer, you can completely negate their damage. So that's pretty solid. Moving over, we have the Teeth-tickle, or Teeth Tackle, I don't know which one that's supposed to be. But anyways, this deals heavy special damage, 1 cooldown, 55 power, and it removes 50% of the target stamina. So another good stamina draining skill, very powerful. That's great in my opinion. Moving over one more time, we have Elm Avenue. This deals very heavy special damage and may give nightmares to the target. Now, I left that in there just for an extra little damaging option. I would probably take all the stamina drains on him because he is a denial monster. As a denial monster, obviously you're going to ruin him with 3 speed. Anything else is kind of a waste in my opinion. Amazing denial monster in my opinion. I mean, I think he's absolutely great. Not only can you possess all the enemies and give them nightmares, which does drain a little bit of stamina, you can also then take away more stamina, either AoE or single, from their denial monster or their damage dealer, whichever one. This guy is pretty amazing. He can keep the enemy pretty much on the defensive for the entire match. Very amazing. I think he is either better than or at least tied to Krampus as the best Dark Denial in the game. Pretty close to being the best Denial in the game. So, amazing monster. Definitely pick him up after the event's over and you see him on offer. This guy is absolutely worth it. Alright peeps, that's going to be it. That's the analysis of all the monsters in the maze. As you can see, there's some very good monsters this maze, like no joke. Anyways, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos, don't forget to leave those in the down there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you liked the video, please make sure you smash that thumbs up button to show your support, and I will see you guys next time.